Hi, my name's Scott Anderson, and you've reached this week's What's on My Mind. I just realized I wore the same exact shirt last week on Monday that I did uh, last Monday and this Monday. I'm running behind this weekend, so I did not. I got my extended review, my article, and all the other stuff I usually do done on Sunday, but I didn't get this done. Oh well. And as you can see, looking out my back through the lack of hair all the way out to the window. It is a gray day. We've had several gray days in a row. In fact, most of the last few days have been gray, a lot of rain. I think we're averaging about a quarter to half an inch of rain every day. It's a pretty big range, but let's just say about 0.4 of an inch of rain every day. Some days we get over an inch, some days we don't get any, so it balances out to about 0.4, zero point 0.5 inches of rain per day, which is a pretty significant amount of rain, right? The ground is pretty wet, pretty saturated. When we went out, the other thing is, we live in a neighborhood with a lot of lakes, but they're all runoff lakes. They're not natural lakes, right? If you think about natural lakes, right, they literally fill a space, but they have some depth, and they don't have a bunch of creeks coming into them, coming out of a neighborhood. Neighborhoods being different because neighborhoods have streets, and streets have storm drains, and the storm drains and all the streets flow all that water into the creeks, and that water is a lot of dirt, a lot of sediment, a lot of things that aren't necessarily well clean. So the water of the lake is now brown, and it will be brown for a while until the sediment settles to the bottom. At some point, however, a lake like that, you also have to come along and dredge, right? Because you can't boat on it anymore. It becomes, what is it? What my dad used to say about the Ohio River: too thin to cultivate, too thick to navigate. It becomes really hard, right? It's hard on boats. It fouls the bottom of the boat. It fouls the motors, and then what happens is the engine of the boat, and which drives the propellers, is down in the actual muck, and that actually reduces the efficiency, but it also over time damages the boat motor. So it's a bad thing, right? It's something that you have to worry about. So a sediment lake, or what is called a runoff lake, is, my dad used to call them runoff lakes also, it's something you have to consider, right? It's the reality of that world. But that's not what's on my mind this week. That just took up the first 3 minutes of this conversation, is talking about runoff waters. What I'm talking about today, or what I want to think about, or what I want to consider, is the concept of nature. I am a huge fan of walking outdoors. I walk outdoors every day. I didn't walk outdoors this morning because it was raining and pouring rain, and neither of my water dogs like rain. I have two Labrador retrievers, neither of whom likes rain. They both don't like getting wet. So we didn't go this morning. I'll take a walk in the evening today. I do walk every day regardless, even if it's raining. The second walk, I won't skip 2 walks in a day. I'll only skip 1. But the point being, I like to be outdoors. So over the course of this weekend, on Saturday, I saw a cormorant and a beautiful horned owl. On Sunday, I saw blue herons, I saw turtles, I saw fish. Um, I like to be around wildlife. It just makes me happy to be around wildlife. It makes me feel like, I'm communing with nature, as it were. So I'm thinking about that. It was one of the reasons why we moved out of the near DC area to the, still near DC area, but now we're like between DC and Baltimore, effectively, up by Frederick, Maryland. One of the reasons we moved out here is just so we would be away. We would be away from the hustle and bustle of where we were. Now, we were in a near suburb of DC called Germantown, which, if you look on a map, is, once upon a time it was, the second train stop heading out of DC towards, let's see, you would have headed towards probably Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, if you were coming through Germantown. But that Case in point, the reality of that being, it's busy there. We had 0.26 of an acre, um, most of which was covered up by the house. It was a bigger house. Now we have a smaller house on about half an acre, and it's nice because we have more yard, we have more outside space. But I also have an opportunity to go out, walk outside, to be outside, and I heartily recommend that. It makes my day better. I know my dog believes that walking outdoors is kind of the ultimate state of being. So it's important. Take a walk outside. Be outside a little bit. My name's Scott Anderson. Thank you so much for checking into What's on My Mind.